Alright, so now let's create an hourglass by maybe just looking at a reference picture. I'm gonna take this one, I think. How can we create this glass? Well, actually, just put this on the side here for me. Let's go to the front view, and I'm gonna take the pen and just draw a line, maybe like this and like this. Okay, press escape. And now what we can do is go to the spline and change the type from Bezier to, I think B-spline was very good, yes. So now let's play with the points. And let's take a look again. As you can see here, these points are not exactly in the middle. I'm going to show you what I mean in a minute. So what we have to do is put this one here, and maybe this one like so, and yes, maybe this one a little bit upwards. We don't have to be that exact. Okay, now let's take a look at this point. This point has to be exactly on the X here, because we want to mirror it afterwards. So let's set the Y position to 0. Okay. All right, and maybe let me just. Well, we could play around here forever, but I'm gonna keep it like that. Okay. So now I'm gonna put this spline into a symmetry. And we don't want it to be that symmetry, but let's see. Yeah, this one. And now we got this sharp edge. Forgot something. Let me just put this one up a little bit. And in this spline, let's see. Go to the points here and put another point here. Okay. Let's put the X to 15 centimeters, and here and now if we check on clamp points on axis and go ahead and just bring it down, it should clamp. Close plano. Yes, it does. It does clamp, see? All right, so let's see, maybe we could stretch this one out a little bit and this one in, maybe? We'll see. Okay, now let's put this one into a lathe. And we got this. This is already looking very good. Now we got some problems up here. Let's see. This is because the X is not in the zeroed out, but it's overshooting, and then we got these problems. So now next thing is we want to create this upper part and this lower part here. So I'm using the newest version of Cinema 4D R21, as you can see. And I'm using a special technique here, but you could do this basically also in the lower versions, like R20 or below. So let's create a circle, and I'm gonna set the plane to XZ and put this one into a extrude, and the extrude we're gonna zero out on the Z, but we want it on the Y. And now go to the caps, and this is new in R21. It's got a new layout here, and yeah. So and let's set this to step, and step we also got in R20 and below, and put the size up, maybe like so, and we want like 2 segments only, and we could go here to extended shape. Play with this. See that? with this size here we can change the inner offset, and with the height we can change the height of this whole thing. So I only want it to be here step, but not down here. So what we can do is separate bevel controls. And we're gonna set the end bevel, which is up here, to round, and put a little bit of a bevel. Let's quickly change the shading to lines, so we can see something, and maybe upper the segments. And okay, so now down here we want these edges to be round. What we can do now is we can group it and put another bevel, and put this one to use angle, which is correct, yes. And now we're just gonna maybe offset it a little bit to 2 centimeters, and upper the subdivisions to like maybe 3. 3 is okay, yeah. And we want to make we want to get rid of these edges here, these harsh edges, so we can upper the number of segments of the circle, make it nice and round, maybe to, let's say 50. 50 is okay, yeah. So now we want to mirror it. So we got this already grouped. Want to mirror it on the center. So let me just put in a symmetry object. Put this null into the symmetry, and if I just move it up now, we can't see anything because the axis is wrong. Now it's correct. XZ. And just move it up here, maybe like so. Yes. And that's basically it. Maybe I'm not happy with the shape. It's very thin now. I mean, let's see. We could also go ahead and add some more points. Let's say I'm just gonna click on Control, and if I have this pen tool selected, click on Control and click, and now we can move this one up to the same height as this point. Let's put this one to 200. This one also to 200. Okay. So now yeah, you can see that. That's much better now. Got this nice shape here. Yeah, this is very good now. Okay, now let's enable the wood here again. So actually the last step now is to build these things here, these poles. And we could do this by just adding in a circle. Change the direction to XZ, scale it down, and put it here. Like so, maybe, yes. A bit more inwards, like so. Okay, and now put this one into a loft object. Yeah, and now just Control click and drag. And now we can create a nice form and switch to scaling. Again, Control and click and drag and scale it down. And I'm always Control clicking and dragging, like so maybe. Change the size, like so, and put this one up. Okay. Scale it up. Control click, drag it up. T for scale, Control click, scale it inwards, maybe like so. E and Control and drag it up here, and Control and drag it up here, and scale it down, like so. Okay. So now I'm gonna insert an end side. Okay, and let's change this one to XZ and put the end side into this circle here and click on the PSR. So we got the same, it's on the same position as the last circle, which is very important. Let's put it here and scale the end sided down. Put it up like so. Okay. Now upper these sides of the end side, let's change it to maybe 30. Yeah, so we get a nice rounding. And now let's make it editable and go into edit mode, and let's select every third point and scale it down. Yeah. And it looks a little bit wonky, but if we upper the mesh subdivisions, you will see, yes, this is looking good. And also check on organic form, which makes it a little bit smoother. Okay, not that much, like 100 is okay. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Now let's go ahead and by control click and dragging, put this one up here and also rotate it. Like, let's say 90 degrees. Okay. So we have to also upper the, not only the subdivisions in U, but also the subdivisions in V. Make it like so. Got a pretty dense mesh now. Now, let's put in real quick another, like so, to just smooth it out here, so we get this circle and this circle, and now from this circle it goes into this end side. If this makes any sense to you, okay? Let's see. Still got. And we will see if this makes any problems here. Let's see if we check the angling. Ah, I see. And check the font tag, and now it's basically good. Okay, it looks very nice. So now what we have to do is we want this circle. Control click and drag it here, and just pull it upwards. And we have to rotate it. If we take a look at the mesh, it goes like this, which is not what we want. We have to rotate it in 90 degrees. And now we just basically have to rebuild this lower part. So I want these two, this part here a little bit thicker. So I'm just going to select these two, click on T for scale and enable per object manipulation, and just click and drag, and it gets thicker, as you can see now. All right, and so now let's create two more of these around the hourglass. So create a null and put the loft into the null, and now clone the whole thing, put it into radial. So now we got this, and we want not 5 but let's say 3 of them, and that's it actually. Now for the texturing part and shading part I used Octane. Let's fire up the live viewer now. Change the settings to, let's say, path tracing. Path tracing is always good for light conditions, to 500 maximum samples, and put the GI clamp to 1. Also check on adaptive sampling, which is also very good now. Okay, so Now we want some light, of course. So let's first of all create an HDRI. An HDRI environment actually, and put in something, I don't know, maybe this one. Yeah, this is looking nice. So we're gonna create a C4D Octane material and put this one onto our glass, and let's just quickly fire up the node editor. Put the material type to specular, and right away we can see that there is something happening, but as we look through this, we got these strange effects here. We could go ahead and play with the index, of course, which changes the breaking of the light dramatically, but there is another option in Octane now. And this is a thin wall. If I click this one, you can see that it simulates a thin wall actually, like an hourglass is. Okay, so there's another thing actually, and this is this glass has some thickness in real life. So what we could do is, let me see, which one is it? This one. Okay, we could put this whole thing into a cloth object. And just alt-click and click on cloth, and we don't want any subdivisions, but we want some thickness going on. And you can see here, very, very small thickness. Put it to maybe 0.4 is okay. You can see it better if I change the shading to wireframe. Yeah, you can see that. If I just play around, yeah, you can see it now very good here as well. Let's put it to -3. For the material of the pole and the bottom and the stand and the upper part here, I used a wood material. I'll just let me quickly create a Octane material and put it onto the stand and go to the content browser. Let me just see. I have some wood materials. Which one did I use? No, I didn't use this one. Well, we could use this one as well. No, but for the preview I used a different one. I used this one, yes. I used a 4K. So now, running out of space here. I'm gonna change the material type to universal. Octane is okay. Get rid of the metallic and insert an image texture. And for this one I want the albedo, and insert this one into the albedo slot. So right away we get this, which is very nice. And I also want an texture for the normal. Use the 16-bit normal and plug this one into the normal. Okay, so we get a little bit of a normal here, as we can see. So maybe we got some other textures here as well. We got a reflection texture and a gloss texture. Let's try the gloss one. Put the gloss one into an image. Put it into the roughness, and the gloss one has to be inverted actually, and lower the strength. Yeah, and this is looking okay now. So now we got these shading problems here, and in C4D there are different methods to project textures onto surfaces. If we just take a look at right now, we have the projection set to a UV mapping, but we could set it maybe to flat, which gives us this look. And if we go to the texture, the UV texture manipulator, or how is it called? The texture mode, yeah. We can see how it gets projected. It actually gets projected from the side. If I just rotate it now, you can see that the projection changes. See that? Okay. It's actually looking pretty nice. Wanted to show you something different. So there's also spatial. Let's try spatial. And I use this one for the preview, which gives me this nice step effect. So spatial is looking like this. Okay, and we use the same texture and the same projection for these poles. And the poles are here. Just click, control click and drag, and yes. So that's it. Now to the little metal balls. You could use X particles, of course, but you can do this with the internal solutions as well. So I used an interesting technique for this. I just copied the spline, and if I go to just solo, so we got this, okay? And I put this spline into a lathe, yeah. But the spline itself, let's see. I moved it a little bit, so I made it a little bit smaller. That you will see this. Why I did this in a second. So if I just unsolo everything, we actually have like 3 objects. Now we have 2 objects here. We got the regular glass, but this lathe object which lies within this glass. So now I'm going to create a sphere, and I'm going to make this sphere smaller, very, very small. Actually, like, let's see. Yeah, maybe like this. Like so. Okay. And we can lower these segments to, let's say, I don't know, 12 maybe, or 8. 8 is okay. So, and now I put this sphere into a cloner by alt click, and in this cloner I'm going to change it to object, and the object I want it to clone is this lathe object. So now what we can see is we got all these balls, but I can change the distribution from surface to volume, and now we got those cubes inside. And I'm gonna upper the count to, let's say, maybe let's try 500 for now, okay? And let me just quickly, don't need the cloner, it has to be visible, of course, but this lathe object doesn't have to be visible. And this one here we can set to X-ray, so we can see it a little bit better. So we got these clones now. And I'm gonna give this cloner a simulation rigid body tag, and this cloth surface I'm gonna also give it a simulation collider body tag. And now if I hit play, what happens is this. See this? It falls down. But we also have to give this body here a simulation tag, because the glass is underneath this thing here. So I'm just gonna copy the collider body onto this one and just click play, and you can see, yeah, it falls down. And we could go ahead and upper the count to, let's say, 2000 maybe. And now if I hit play, see this, boom, goes down. It slowly falls down. You can even upper it even more. You have to be, I mean, it gets lower and slower. You see, if I upper this to 5000, yeah. So we get this. And now I'm gonna create a C4D material, put it onto the cloner, fire up Octane. Yes, and in this material, I'm gonna set it to metallic. And this is basically the way I achieved this look. I hope you liked it. If so, give me a like, follow me, leave me a comment. I'll see you next time. Bye.